What's up, everybody? It's that's Satia, and I am back with another video. Yes, I know I'm behind. I have been moving and going through all of this stuff these past couple of weeks, but I am back on track now. So let's go ahead and get into it. Today I'm going to be reviewing GreenLeaf episode 5. So the episode first starts off with May giving her sermon. You know, she said she wanted to give it last episode, and so this episode that she decided that's what she was going to do. During the sermon that May gave, May was trying to explain to everybody that, you know, we should be celebrating and this and that. And, you know, Carissa, in her usual sad fashion, is talking about what's there to celebrate. And honestly, y'all, it just annoyed me. It really, really did, because it's just like, Carissa, please be over it. And pretty much the whole time you've been there complaining about something. Like, even when you guys moved out, you were complaining. When you was living there, you were complaining. You know, you always just have something negative to say most of the time. Like, it's always some form of criticism, some form of complaining, some form of something like that. And Carissa is just really, truly working on my nerves. And like, even before the sermon started, when her and Jacob were going back and forth, and she was like talking about the kids and stuff like that, like, I feel like Carissa has just gotten to a place where she's used to Jacob being the villain and her being the victim. And it's really annoying, to be quite honest, because it's like Jacob told her, which I felt like was a valid question. I'm not even gonna lie, I feel like it was a valid question. Jacob was like, when you and Philando were together, were you showing him pictures of the kids? No. Like, and he just left it there. And it's like, exactly, like, I feel like she's so used to making him the villain, and he has been the villain for cheating and stuff like that. We get that. But you haven't been great either. And just because he cheated, and that's a sin, I guess, doesn't mean that the things that you have done are right either. Because if I'm not mistaken, even in the Bible it says no sin is bigger than the other. So you have belittled him, you have made him feel less than, you act like you're supporting him, but then it's like with your support comes belittling and disrespect. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I just always think back to when they moved into that house, how much she was complaining about this being broke, that being broke, just complaining. The house is this, the house is that, just complaining. And so, you know, they again go have a little back and forth during May's sermon, and, you know, Bishop, you know, checks both of them pretty much, and they shut it down. So May goes to visit Tara, and they talk and stuff, and she's asking her about, you know, what made her get into this field and all this other stuff, and what does she do and this, and then they get into the conversation about the house, and Tara is saying basically like that house could be used for, you know, helping the homeless, giving shelter to women and children, people who deal with sexual abuse or domestic violence or domestic abuse. Like, this could be a place for them. And so it seemed like something just kind of came over May, and she was just like, okay, keep doing your work. And like, she pretty much left. I feel like maybe like God is speaking to her right now, but then again, I don't know, because, you know, she just been having these like awakenings like that I've never seen her have before. So I'm just like, okay, May. So after the sermon, they have breakfast, and it's like buffet style, and Bishop and AJ kind of exchange conversation, and Bishop tells AJ to follow him outside, and in that moment they bond over a car, because Bishop gives him this story about when he was a kid, he wanted this one specific car, and he was like just praying for it and asking for it. And so his dad gave it to him, but he gave it to him basically in pieces and told him he had to build it together. But the thing about it is, his dad never told him what it was inside of the box. And Jacob never looked inside the box to find out that it was his car. So he tells AJ the whole story, and basically they have a bonding moment, and he tells AJ if he wants to help him build the car, then AJ can have it. And, you know, of course, AJ is ecstatic, like, because that's a free car. You get what I'm saying? Like, even though it's an oldie, it's a goodie, okay? So he definitely gonna take it, okay? Then it's time for Zora to have her talk with Jacob and Carissa. And, you know, again, y'all, this conversation really, it was sad, but it was also annoying at the same time. It was sad because I can't really identify with Zora because I've never had married parents before. But I would imagine that if this is all you've seen, it could be devastating for it to not be there anymore. So I get that. But Zora was getting on my nerves, and she is kind of like her mom. Like, they are so used to villainizing Jacob that it's just ridiculous. Like, she was just like, I'm glad. Like, you should have been left him and all. As if this is just some dude on the street. Like, as if this is not her dad. As if her dad is not sitting right here. As if her dad does not have feelings. Like, I get it. We like to think of like men and like parents, especially parents and dads, like not having feelings, but they have feelings too. And it's like, Zora, you're a spoiled brat. That's exactly what you are. Like, who are you to tell anybody they should have left anybody? Like, and I think it annoys me too because Zora wants to act like she's so grown, and then when it's time to act grown, she don't know how to grow up. Like, again, you were the same person who wasn't your parents telling you to leave that boy alone, but you did it anyway. And you had to figure out on your own when to let him go, right? Okay then. Like, that's this, but just on a grander scale. And no, your dad is not hitting your mom, but he's cheating. So I'm not saying that the situation is exactly the same. I'm saying the aspect of sometimes you don't want to let things go because it means a lot to you. Now, that situation you was in was a little toxic, but still, that was your first experience where you felt like, oh, I'm just in love, and what if this is in this and that? And it was just very just disrespectful the way she was acting towards Jacob. And then when Carissa let her know, like, actually it wasn't him, like, she just act like she was just so disgusted. It's like, Zora, you got a lot of growing up to do. Like, you really, really do. And then here we go again with Carissa being, the victim and yelling and talking about, I'm not taking Winky through that and I still want to be with you. I'll call this whole thing off, but all this other stuff. And it's like, Carissa, hang it up. Like, that's probably not the right thing to say. Again, I'm not married either, but I like to think that even if I was married, if something ain't working, it ain't working. Let it go. Like, you've wanted out this whole time in this relationship. You finally get out. You don't know how to act. Like, Carissa, don't forget you were the one who held this over his head. Remember? You threatened his dad, the person who has provided a roof over your head. You threatened to do whatever you felt like you thought you had, to give, and could possibly land Bishop in jail, but you didn't care about none of that because you're selfish. It's always about you. So Sophia and AJ have a conversation, and basically she, lets him in about what's going on with her and stuff like that. And, this new Sophia, I kind of like it. Okay, Sophia got a little mouth on her. Okay, she was like, because AJ was just telling her, like, you need to go back to Hampton. And she was like, how would you feel if you had Joe all over the internet? And I'm just like, okay, talk greasy then. Okay, like, I hear you. But they had a conversation and it was good. And basically he was just telling her, like, look, you gonna have to leave sometime. He kind of threw a little bit of shade towards Jacob and Charity and Carissa, because he was like, adults don't live at home. And I was like, the thing is, I get it though with this situation. Like, I get it and then I don't get it. I get it because it's like, okay, why wouldn't you want to stay somewhere where it's rent free? Because, a lot of people say that. And you still have freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a house where you still have all your freedom as an adult, but you're just staying rent free. So it's like, why not? But at the same time, I do feel like these kids are spoiled. And I don't want to say kids because they're adults, but like, I feel like they've been spoiled and then they have kids and then they spoil their kids. You know what I mean? Like, even the fact that Charity uses the nanny and stuff like that, like, if she was to go out and be on her own, I feel like they're just missing a certain element of adulthood a little bit. Because it's like I was saying, if Charity was to go out on her own, this wouldn't be a thing unless you could afford a nanny. You know what I mean? Like, Jacob, it's not real life that you would have been able to afford this type of lifestyle on your own in for Zora to like have her own place, because that girl pretty much got a whole place to herself. So it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like this spoiled factor. Y'all get dinner made. Carissa, you ain't got to cook. You know, y'all got a housemaid. You know what I mean? It's just, it is definitely this spoiled lifestyle. So I kind of felt AJ when he said that. You know, he just let her know that you are going to have to grow up and leave sometimes. You know what I mean? And I like the fact that Sophia took a minute to think about it. And she understands that. You know, I like Sophia, honestly. I really, really do. Like, she is, I feel, more grown than Zora. You know what I mean? Like, she is about her growth in, like, I don't know what's going on with Zora. And not to really compare them, because they're two different characters, but they are around each other a lot, so you see the comparisons. But it's just like, I like Sophia's. So Noah and Grace have a moment, and they're having conversations, and she takes a nap with him and all this other stuff. But he tells her about a journal he found when he was living in that little, I don't want to say shed, but like living in his little thing that Zora now occupies, about a journal he found where the woman who owned the house, she had a groundskeeper, I think is what he called him, and the groundskeeper would keep notes, and apparently this groundskeeper was white, and in his notes he would say stuff like the Negro came and the Negroes around and all this other stuff, and he would document it. And so but they just trying to figure out like what that means and stuff like that. So Grace goes to Zora's little thing to find it, and she runs into Zora, obviously, because Zora's in there, you know, upset, and they talk and she hug, and then she finds the documents, and then I guess we're gonna see next episode what she do with them or what she figures out about them. But yeah, she gets the information, which I ain't gonna lie, y'all, maybe I just wasn't clear, but I didn't know that the lady, Miss Davis, I think that's her name, like, was white. I thought she was black. Because then it does make me question, like, well, why would you leave it to a black man, especially in those times? But I guess we're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm not sure, I guess. May tells Bishop that they are going to give Tara the house. He's upset about it. He feels like they shouldn't do that because it makes him look like a criminal. And he's like, I just don't understand. He asked Grace if he can take some money basically from her to give to Tara, because maybe like as an incentive. Grace agrees, but when he tells May is just like, oh no, she was not having it. She was highly upset. She was not fooling with it, okay? She was just like, I don't want to accept that money, like, no. So, you know, that's a no. But as they're arguing, Charity comes in and asks them if they want to go back to the church tonight to say their, you know, thank yous. And, you know, at first May wasn't with it, but, you know, Charity kind of convinced her. And so they all go to the church, and everybody's singing the church, its praises. And, you know, Carissa saying it's beautiful and this and that. And Bishop gives a story about their first baptism that they held there. And I think he said it was a 93-year-old woman. She was baptized, and it was just like a really great moment for them. And they just really bask in the ambience and enjoy, I guess, what's gonna be left of the church and stuff, and just enjoying it together and being there as a family. And they hold hands at on the stage, and Bishop tells May that, you know, we can give the house if you want to. And she was like, not me, if he wants to. And I was just like, you know, I'm really feeling this new May. Like, I really, really am. This more in tune with Jesus' spiritual connection May. Like, because I feel like in the past we've seen her kind of just, in my opinion, be a little superficial, I guess, or like a little like more so worried about things that matter but really don't. And it seems like this season she's really about the business of the Father. So kudos to May. Then finally they go to Tara's church, and they're talking, and she's like, you know, God will provide and all this other stuff. And so they knock on the door, and Tara opens, and Latoya Luckett is there, her sister. And so May and Bishop is looking like, what the HE double hockey stick is going on? And so, you know, Latoya, look, I can't think of her name on the show, but Latoya is like, you know, these green leaves is like a bad penny. You can never get rid of them or something like that. Or they're always popping up. Girl, please. But the makeup and the outfit is banging. I don't know where she was going at 10 o'clock at night, but bomb, okay? So she walks out and winks at Bishop, and Tara is just there. And they just looking at her like, you know, arms folded, like, explain yourself. And then the episode ends. So it was a pretty good episode, y'all. I'm curious to know what Tara has to say for herself. You know what I'm saying? I think we obviously are going to see next episode, but yeah, so that's it, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I will be back with another video after this, so please stay tuned. Love y'all.